Hi, and welcome to XR for Work. This is the show where we explore the immersive, virtual, mixed, and augmented platforms designed for business and professional use. My name is Rick, and I'm your host here at XR for Work. Now, today we're doing a follow-up to our Windows mixed reality overview from a few weeks back. I've been using my HP Reverb G2 a lot more than my Quest lately. So I thought I'd share what I've learned and what I've been doing in Windows mixed reality. In this show, we're going to dive a bit more deeply into some of the features and uses of Windows mixed reality, especially the productivity elements of it, and how I've set up my own personal CliffHouse. First, don't forget to check us out on Facebook and YouTube. Please stop by. Join the Facebook group at XR for Work. Follow us on Twitter at XR for Work. And then if you have any questions, email us at xrforwork@gmail.com or look us up over on LinkedIn, Rick Castile and Nicholas Johansson, who are the partners at XR for Work. And with that, let's get started. Okay, so as I've said, we're going to jump back into the Windows mixed reality story. And I'm continuing on with my exploration and use of the HP Reverb G2 that I'm hooking into my Windows gaming laptop, which is an MSI device. I can get into the hardware specs perhaps in another video at another time. Today, what we're going to take a look at are the HP Reverb G2 controllers, the Windows mixed reality portal menu and the app menu and slates that go along with it. We're going to talk a little bit about Edge and WebXR. We're going to look at the 3D viewer and voice controls. And so here you go, a close-up of the HP Reverb controllers. Now you can see, if you're in VR, this has to look familiar to you. So I don't think you'll find any surprises. You will notice these two small menu buttons down here. Now this is a little different. If you're an Oculus user, you're familiar with having the menu button. This has a Windows button and then another menu button down here at the bottom. And utilizing these two as you jump back and forth and in and out of for instance, Steam VR will become increasingly important. So we'll just take a quick tour, A, B, X, Y. You've got your joysticks, you've got your grip controllers. One neat little feature that I just discovered as I was planning this are the little battery icons as you kind of invert your hands underneath. You can't really see them holding them face up. You have to kind of turn them, like I said, inverted in a different manner. But you do have some trouble with these controllers with tracking. They are 98% accurate and consistent. But when you're doing things that you want 100% accuracy, that 2% loss of control can be a little bit frustrating. So something worth noting. I've read a lot of things online about, making sure your light is right and your batteries are strong. And, it's just that the way these things work and control, they're actually Bluetooth with your computer, not really kind of, and they're tracked certainly within your headset. But however that science is and that they're using is not quite 100%, but certainly good enough for me. I have a few complaints about it. All right, well, let's take a look at the Windows mixed reality portal and app menu and slates. And here I'm just standing up on the upper platform of my CliffHouse. And when you hit that little Windows mixed reality button, this is what comes up, right? This is the portal menu, and you can see several items up here right in front of you. You can tell what kind of signal strength you have for your Wi-Fi, if your speech recognition is on, we're going to go over that later, what your volume is at, and then you can select between the Cliff House and the Skyloft. You can see the battery settings on your device, in this case, laptop, that you're signed into your Windows device. Because this is all running Windows, that sign in and that identification becomes increasingly important as you go to interact with different platforms and applications. And so from here, also down at the bottom, you can see that my video button is toggled on. I'm videoing this right from within Windows Mixed Reality. Now, one of the limitations I've found is that your video will only run for 5 minutes, and then the video stops. So if you're doing anything longer than 5 minutes, you're going to have to capture it from the desktop. From within the headset, you get 5 minutes. You can grab a snapshot here with the camera icon. And then there's the flashlight icon that I'm going to toggle on here and show you exactly what it does. Now, what the flashlight icon does is it's that pass-through, the see-through, and it actually utilizes your controllers like flashlights, like you're holding a flashlight in your hand. And I have both my controllers up. You can see it's kind of like a binocular shaped view that I can get of my actual in-life real surroundings. So I can kind of see my wall. There's a door with a glass panel. That's why it's so bright. The light's coming in, the doorway, the little bookcase, the door to the hallway. If somebody was standing there, I'd see them. So the flashlight's very handy. And the flashlight will actually work in game. So you have to actually kind of be careful. If you do what I do and leave voice recognition on and you were to say something that sounded like flashlight, it could toggle on in the middle of a game or a session that you're in. But a very cool feature. I could toggle that off. And then, you know, the menu will follow my gaze. Wherever I'm looking, it will follow me as long as it's opened. And then when you actually go into the all apps, you will, it's just like your Windows menu. You will actually see the applications that you have installed that are, I would say, sensitive to or for use within VR. Now, this is a good example of where that maybe doesn't work so well. This is the Microsoft News app. Now it comes up and I want to read the news, but it's blank. And so you do get these periods where inexplicably these applications will not respond. Now here's Solitaire. And I just wanted to show how it will work using your controller, kind of like a mouse. I can select the actual card, pick it up, move it, and and then I can close these apps. But here again, news, I just kind of get nothing and it doesn't respond. Sometimes you may find you have to open and close these apps more than once. And these are, and you get these two different kind of apps. One is the kind that will launch right from the menu and open up. And then others, you will open up what I'm referring to as a slate, right? Which is actually an image that you can place around. So here's Steam VR, right? It opens as a slate and I can grab it. It becomes a 3D object that I can move around, I can manipulate, I can size it. And then there's an actual function in the middle of the menu at the bottom that's called Follow Me. And if I click that, Steam VR actually follows me around wherever I kind of go. We'll go ahead and we'll close that. Now, I do want to bring up one other thing since that was highlighted there. And let me see if I can grab and pause, is you'll notice that as I highlight a command on these small menus, and you can see it says say close. Now, because I have voice recognition turned on, I can opt to use these voice commands without actually even using my controller. So I can open it, I can close it, I can actually size it to a degree and have it follow me just by stating those things rather than actually having to use the controller. Memorizing the controls versus actually pointing and clicking. Point and click is pretty quick, sometimes even quicker than saying it. So here's an example where I opened the settings item and nothing is responding, right? So nothing's responding. Close it, open my menu, open settings again, and now everything's going to work and it's going to be fine. I can't explain why it works sometimes and doesn't work others. It is a little bit of a roll of the dice, I'm afraid, sometimes when you're working with these things. But hopefully, as we go into the presentation here a little bit, you'll kind of see what I've been able to do utilizing the functionality. And then the last thing I think I pulled up was the Cliff House Skyloft. Again, and the Skyloft is also out here as a 3D object that I can select and actually jump into. And I can place that 3D object anywhere here on the Cliff House I want. Here I've put it up kind of on the roof, kind of off to the side. And if I want to go to Skyloft, I can jump to it from there. Okay, so we're done with that. Let's go on to Edge and WebXR. Now, here we are in the Cliff House, and I have Edge up against the wall here on a very large screen, and I've gone to Frame VR. Now, Frame is an application, a VR-based XR application that we've covered several weeks, months ago at this point. That's continued to develop and grow, and I thought it would be a great example of a WebXR application that you're able to use right from the Windows Cliff House or the Skyloft, or but from within Windows Mixed Reality. So I've opened Edge, I've gone to the framevr.io website, and I'm entering a specific environment here, just sizing the window a little bit so that I can see more of what's available. And I think I'm going to choose the atrium, and we'll jump into the atrium. So right here within the Cliff House, within Windows Mixed Reality, I can open a web VR application. I can connect, and you'll always see either these goggles or this little VR indicator in the web page, and then it will dissolve from the Cliff House. And here I am now in Frame VR. The menu here is functional. My hand is functional. My locomotion is all functional. But I am now in Frame. And this is important because the Windows Mixed Reality platform, at least at this stage, is single user, right? Your desktop or your laptop connected to your headset will get you into Windows Mixed Reality that you can leverage on your own. So you need these other applications or these other web apps in which I would go and meet with people. So I could set up a meeting, say, hey, let's go meet in a Frame. I can use my Windows Mixed Reality HP G2 headset connected to my laptop, open up Edge, jump into a session, and boom, I'm there, and then I can meet with other folks. And that's that. And then I think from here, just as a further example, we'll open up another tab, and we'll go to YouTube, and I will look up a 4K VR video. I think I look up 4K VR, and yeah, there we go. And I'll select that 4K video. Now, YouTube has thousands and thousands of these things, and we'll go ahead and pick Glass Bridge in China. We'll let the ad run a few seconds. I should have cut the audio off on that. We'll skip that. And then again, there's the little goggles, and I'm going to back up on that just a little bit, just in case you missed it, and see if I can pause it. Right there they are. So these little goggles, or again, you might see an indicator that shows VR. You click that, Cliff House dissolves, and we'll run this video for just a few seconds. Glass Bridge in China, and you're floating through the air. This was actually fascinating. I probably got a little too caught up in watching it while I was recording. I do want to go back and actually finish seeing this. It's quite breathtaking. And of course, as you're floating along, like you're in a helicopter above this site, it's pretty incredible. Here's the glass bridge. But again, when you're in the Windows mixed reality or when you're in VR, this is 360 around you, and you can see the entire thing. And then when I'm done, I'll hit my Windows button, my Windows menu button, and I'm back here in VR. And in fact, the video is still playing in Edge here in the Cliff House. And so, yeah, very cool. All right, now let's look at the 3D viewer. This is something that's pretty fun. And you'll notice that I have a little dog here, a little 3D image of a dog. I have a dog in real life called Chewy. So I felt like in my Cliff House, I needed a little dog Chewy. So in this 3D viewer, you're able to pull these animated holograms into your Cliff House or your Skyloft and actually play them as you want to give you a more homey feel. But 3D viewer that I've placed up here against the wall, and I'll pull out this little ice skating penguin to give another example. And you can locate these things and they can sit off in the corner. And then when you click on them, the animation actually plays. And you know, this is a sense of how you can customize in Windows mixed reality. And you can hear the music in the background and the little penguin is skating around. And it's a little humorous touch that you can add. The next one, let's pull out the cheeseburger, right? It's getting towards lunchtime here. So let's check out the cheeseburger. These do take a few seconds to download and render. And so I can set them off and oh yeah, it looks pretty good. Onions, tomato, cheese. Yep, I'd eat that. Right, so that's a little animation you can play. And you can set these things out around your Cliff House, wherever you want. And you have an entire library of these holograms that you can use. There's another 3D library that you can go sort through or search through for specific things. And then even if you have your own, you can bring them in from the file library on, again, the desktop that you're connected to. So very, very cool and very, very fun feature for customization there in Windows Mixed Reality. Okay, Chewy, we'll see you later. And the last thing that we're going to talk about is using speech in Windows Mixed Reality. And what I've pulled up here is right in the Windows Mixed Reality page on Microsoft, there is a section for using speech input. And I highly advise you go look that up so that you can get a sense. I'm not doing a tutorial on how to use it. I'm just kind of giving you a sense of what you can do with it. And you can see all these commands that you're able to use when you're in Windows Mixed Reality. And I think voice is absolutely going to be one of those key user interface elements in VR and AR in the future. And so using something like voice controls and voice commands is important. So I have a big window here for OneNote, and you can hear me starting to dictate. And I'll actually invoke it by saying, start dictating. And I can dictate into this. I can dictate into Edge. I can dictate into just about any of the apps that you have here. And the recognition is really good. I can use punctuation. It does a really, really good job of voice dictation right here within Windows Mixed Reality. So it highly encourage you to explore and check that out. And now the last thing we have, this is just a tour of what I've done with my Windows Mixed Reality house. And so when you first come in, I've kind of cleared all the 3D objects that they had floating out here. I don't need the store. I don't need all that. This initial launch pavilion when you come in is kind of my game room. And so what you'll see is I have a list of titles from Viveport that I've got installed, and these come in as slates. And so I can take these slates and I kind of put them on the wall, and this is where I can launch into my games from these particular slates. I don't have to open the menu first and go find them and then launch them. They're kind of right here. And then this wall is for my Steam VR titles. And so again, I put the slates on the wall. It's just kind of decorative and it's fun. Now over here, I've hung a couple of plants that I've pulled in from the 3D viewer. I've moved the Alt Space launcher over here, the blue, which is an actual title that I have. I like maps, so I've kind of filled this wall with the mapping feature from Windows, and I can sit here and kind of play and even draw on that. You've seen you've seen Chewy. We'll say hi to Chewy. You've got the 3D viewer up here on the wall so that I can pull out other things as the need, or it just strikes me that I want to do something different. And then over here is I've placed Amazon Music on this particular wall so that I can actually play music into my headset. So if I'm sitting in here, perhaps having a session or doing some work and I want some background music, or I'm just messing around, I might just play my favorite list while I'm in the Cliff House. Now, sound is positional in the Cliff House while you're in mixed reality. So the further away you get from that app where you have it located, the further away the sound gets. And so that's why I've kind of centrally located. I had it in a media room, which we'll take a look at in a second. But the moment I left the media room, I couldn't hear it anymore. Here's the desktop. Now, it's very important to have your desktop somewhere where you can get to it and launch it, because frequently, and I think you'll see an example of this, sometimes the apps won't behave well. So mail launches fine. There's my mail. That's great. Now, I like to bring the Your Phone app in. But what I find with Your Phone is that it won't respond. I can wake it up. And you'll notice that a lot of these windows, or all of these windows, in fact, when you walk over to them, they're asleep. They're really kind of representations. So what I have to do is go over to the desktop, invoke that app, kind of wake it up on the desktop. And then when I come back to it over here, there it goes. Now it's awake and functional. So now I can use the Your Phone app kind of independently of the desktop, but I had to wake it up on the desktop first. And so that's just a little tip that I'm giving you now. Like I said, mail seems to be working. And then over here in this particular corner, I have placed, my photos album. And so just like on the desktop, you have a photo album. And so I can go take an album of pictures. This is a cruise that I had taken with my wife and my son and grandkids a couple of years ago. And I can actually have this huge kind of rotating slideshow photo album up here. And on this desk, I have a number of slates for apps that I might use. And again, a lot of these have to do with meeting and collaboration. So I have Engage, I have Live Sync that I can launch if I'm meeting with somebody in one of those platforms from Windows Mixed Reality. So they're there and handy. And then Google Earth, which is just a really good, fun app to have. Now, over on this wall, I've got my weather app, right? And again, I have to wake it up, let it refresh. Still not warm enough here yet. Okay, and then an alarm, a world clock, which, I tend to, VR has kind of taken away any location-based concerns you may have, right? So I have people in Vancouver I talk to, Stockholm that I talk to, and frankly, even in Australia. So it's good to kind of know what time it is at any given point if I were to reach out. I use OneNote a lot for note taking and dictating into to get my thoughts going. And then of course, I've got Edge over here. This is actually, I do most of my actual work here in Edge, right? I'll open Outlook.com, I'll open Microsoft 365, and I'll work there. Now, I'm moving a little too fast, I know, so let me pause here. And you can see I have other meeting apps. I have Meet in VR and Glue, which are the PC-based versions of those platforms that I can launch and meet with. I have vSpatial, which I can also use for desktop productivity as well as meetings. And then Noda, which is just a fantastic app, my favorite app for just getting in and thinking and brainstorming and putting my thoughts together. So all these things are here kind of in my productivity area here within the Cliff House. And this is where I come to actually do work. And I think what I'll do here is I'll open up, and I often will start dictating and use that to kind of navigate as much as I possibly can. And just going into the Windows Mixed Reality site, we've kind of seen this, right? And then I'm always kind of trying to find and learn something new. And then I actually might be able to learn something. I might turn around into OneNote and dictate it in there, or I can even copy and paste if I'm feeling particularly lucky with the controllers that day, and I'll use them. Then we'll go down here into the media room. And the media room is kind of where I've moved. I've left this big Microsoft movie and TV player. I've added the Netflix player, added my Netflix account so that, if I wanted to watch something for a while, I could actually come in here and watch it again through Windows Mixed Reality here in the media room. And all these windows are movable and customizable. I've kept the 360 video item in here. One cool feature that I do like is this little button on the wall, which actually opens up the media room, makes it twilight or dark outside with the mountains in the background. So this is kind of cool media room if you're going to sit and watch a movie. Being under the stars outside at night, yeah, you could do worse. So we'll close the room back up. Suddenly the sun comes back out. That's great. Okay, 360 videos that I just hang around, good for demo purposes. And yeah, that's pretty much how I've got my Cliff House set up. And perhaps next time I come back, we'll do the skyloft. The roof I've left open. The roof I like to, again, this is where I will maybe put music on and I'll come out and I just kind of walk around and think. Sometimes it's good to have just obstructed view of something wonderful. And the Cliff House Vista certainly gives you that. Okay, well, that's it today. I hope you've enjoyed the little tour I've given you of my Cliff House and some of the things I've shared with Windows Mixed Reality. And I hope you'll continue to follow us here at XR for Work. And we'll see you in the metaverse. Bye now.